schools. And at this point, we are also offering it to the public. The point is that you can go in and build a keychain, and all of a sudden you feel this sense of, personally, feel this sense of power that I too can create something. I just made that keychain, but now I have the tools, and if I'm going to sit down and use them for a while, I can dream up and make whatever I want to, and I have that tools at my capacity. It's that light bulb that goes off in people that are introduced to the Fab Lab and the equipment that is really critical to building some of the key skills that are necessary in our 21st century. This relates also to a conversation I had because this comes up constantly. How do we make what we're doing relevant? How do we make what we're doing relevant to what's happening in our school systems? Because all of these things need to interconnect in some way. Again, on the theory that the more interconnected we are, the more the youth will see these things as relevant and building and progressive in their lives. I recently had the opportunity. Chicago is known for its architecture. It's a gorgeous city. It is quite cold, but it is a gorgeous city with some fabulous architecture. And I recently had a conversation with one of the educational leaders at the Architecture Foundation as they are beginning their strategic planning and trying to determine how they could become more relevant in the educational community of Chicago. And they expressed concern that, yes, you know, MSI, museum, you've done great things, and yes, you're having a big impact on our schools, in our communities, but we're architecture, you're science, at least you're in the curriculum. To which I replied, yeah, but kids like what you are. I mean, you're architecture, you're building stuff, you're building buildings. Who doesn't do that since the time they were yay high? You're creating things. You are a perfect entry point. And our educators are increasingly aware that it is not about facts. It is about learning how to collaborate. It is about critical thinking and communication. It is about this motivation to learn that I've been discussing. So the Architecture Foundation, with a little bit of positioning themselves, actually could become an incredibly relevant player in formal education in Chicago. But it's about them thinking about their assets and aligning them with the needs of our communities to engage our youth in science, education, and innovation. So I think I've used the word collaboration a few times, but it's really important that it gets its own slide because we have to create environments that require it, like the Fab Lab, like any number of other projects and lab experiences that we can have in our schools. And we have to be proactive about teaching our students how to collaborate. I had this might be a risky translation, but I had a great mentor in Chicago around public education policy, and he said, Andrea, and I was worried about him, but he's a very conservative gentleman. Andrea, you have to understand that, and I want to ask you, what is an unnatural act between two consenting adults? And of course, it is collaboration. I'm not even going to pause for the punchline. Collaboration is not natural. In many ways, we are competitive with each other, and we have taught our youth to be competitive. We have to put them into contexts in which they can practice this art form so they can see that it's to the common good and it's to their good, that they work together because their product, their design, their outcome will be infinitely better than doing it alone. So we must, again, be proactive in creating these environments. So what does that mean? Well, again, I don't know what it means for you. I know what it has meant for the Museum of Science and Industry. And I know one of the reasons that we've been able to do some things is because we've very much focused on our zone of control, which is if you're looking to have impacts in your communities and on your youth, you should focus on what you can control. And that is not the antithesis of collaboration. It is about what are your strengths? What's the strengths of your organization? Where can you have an effect? What are the barriers to your audiences? Talk to your audiences. Understand what your audiences, what their challenges are. Do they have problems getting the time off work to participate in your teacher workshop? Do they have trouble transporting their youth to your museum? Whatever it is, you have to understand what the barriers are And you must be strategic in leveraging your strengths. I can't tell you how many times during our period of transformation we were encouraged to do something for which we had zero competency. Run a school, be a charter school. We don't run schools. We're a museum. What we do know is how to do inquiry science. We know how to do hands-on. We know how to leverage and build inspiration and to extend that learning into different environments. After school programs, it was the same question. You're a big building? Yeah, we are, but most of it's being used and we're not convenient. On the other hand, there are literally over 300 after-school programs funded by state or city agencies in Chicago, near Chicago community, and every one of them is dying for resources. So instead, we focused on helping them provide good science curriculum rather than reinventing the wheel. So focus on your zone of control and the strengths that you bring to it. So just a little bit more by way of example of how we use this information to hopefully have some impacts. And I would suggest our evaluation and research shows that it does. But we started by creating a very strong vision and sticking to it and filtering every decision, whether it explicitly impacted programming or even if it was less explicit. We filtered everything through our vision, which is to inspire and motivate children to achieve their full potential in the fields of science, technology, medicine, and engineering. And we view math as implicit. We decided to use medicine because we're industry and we're very focused on the application of core science in the world around us as a way of motivating our youth. So when we invested in some large-scale new exhibitions, we also invested significantly in developing the extended learning strategies to leverage the content in those exhibitions quite intentionally to where our youth could be influenced. Youth are at the center of every decision. We took the phrase full potential very literally, and we only have so much role as a museum in a child's full potential. We recognize that a child's full potential has much more to do with their family, their community, and their school. And so we ask the question, what can we do to support quality science engagement in a fun, accessible manner in each of those life domains? So first, we identified the guiding values, the principles of all of our programming, whether it's happening in our programs that occur outside of the building or inside the building. And these are the beliefs that, the questions we ask ourselves as we're developing the program. We believe that everyone can do science and that science must be accessible to everyone to make sure that we're tapping the full potential of our communities. We want to meet guests where they are, and we use guests with a very broad term of guests are our audiences. Yes. So we need to meet them where they are. We believe in reflective practice. It's not just worth doing something cool. We need to do something that has an impact. So everything is evaluated from beginning to end to ensure it's having the intended impact. We use inquiry and hands-on, and we build relationship with individuals. Personally, I don't like to learn from people I don't like, even though I like most people. We know that we want to build a comfortable, inviting community wherever we are. We are well positioned for people to like us. We're the Museum of Science and Industry. We're fun. We have a place in people's heart, and we try to use that. So we reach our teachers. We focus on middle grade science teachers in the U.S. and in Chicago in particular. Well over 50% of the teachers in our middle grades classrooms do not have a background in science or science teaching. Those are the teachers we work with. We work with over 200 a year with enough depth and with enough fun that they participate with us with an attendance rate of over 95%, and they can earn graduate credit hours through our partnership with the Illinois Institute of Technology. We focus on content, pedagogy, and connecting resources external to the classroom to amplify the reality that science is the world around you, not the textbook in front of you. Youth science engagement. We have science clubs now in 74 community-based organizations, almost exclusively in high-needs communities, meaning poor communities in the Chicago and near Chicago area. We have youth development programs that help bridge these youth into science careers and into college with campus visits, career readiness programs, and internships. Student experiences, we have over 300,000 kids come to the museum on field trips every year, and about 25,000 of them, 25 to 30,000, participate in learning lab experiences, which are 60 to 90 minutes usually, with the opportunity to introduce them to science done right, fun, accessible, relevant to their classroom learning experience that maybe they're not getting in the classroom in our communities. And guest experience. We have 1.5 million visitors a year. We have free live science experiences, not only so mom and dad can sit down, which was my goal, but also so that they can be actively engaged and we can provide them a context for a conversation as they're driving home to Michigan or to wherever they came from and talk about science together. So I was trying to conclude quickly. Everything begins and ends for us with our vision. Everybody can have an impact on the science engagement in inspiring their youth to become the next generation of innovators and scientists, wherever you are. But fixate on what we know and fixate how it's best applied in your context. Thank you.